I spent 25 years taking care of my husband Tom after his car accident left him bedridden. I fed him every meal, changed his clothes, gave him his medicine, and never complained once. I thought I was being a good wife. Until that Tuesday morning when I heard him talking to his physical therapist, saying, "Martha's just an unpaid maid. She'll never leave because she's too old and too scared." That's when I knew I had been living a lie for 25 years. Before we start, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. Granny's voice loves hearing from all over the world. And if you like these real stories, don't forget to subscribe. I was folding his clean shirts in the bedroom when I heard voices from the living room. Tom was having his weekly therapy session with Jake, a young man who came to help with his exercises. I was about to bring them some fresh lemonade when I heard Tom's voice get louder. "You know what the funny thing is?" Tom said with a laugh. "Martha thinks we're some kind of team. Like we're in this together or something." I stopped walking. My hands were still holding the glass pitcher, but I couldn't move. "She runs around here like my personal nurse," Tom continued. "Wakes up at 5 a.m. to make my breakfast exactly how I like it. Cuts my food into tiny pieces. Even helps me shower. It's like having a slave, but she does it all for free." Jake laughed uncomfortably. "Well, she seems to really care about you, Mr. Peterson." "Care?" Tom snorted. "She's trapped. Where's she gonna go at 67? She's got no money of her own, no job skills, no friends. I made sure of that over the years. She's too old and too scared to start over. So she'll keep being my little servant until one of us dies." The lemonade pitcher slipped from my hands and crashed to the floor. The sound echoed through the house like a gunshot. I stood there in the puddle of sticky liquid and broken glass, feeling like my whole world had just shattered too. "Martha," Tom called out. "You okay in there?" I couldn't answer. My voice was stuck in my throat. That night, I lay in bed staring at the ceiling while Tom slept beside me. His words kept playing in my head like a broken record. "She's just an unpaid maid. Too old and too scared. I made sure of that." I thought about all the times over the years when I wanted to take a painting class at the community center, but Tom said he needed me at home. When my sister invited me to visit her in Florida, but Tom said his condition was too serious for me to leave. When I wanted to get a part-time job at the library, but Tom said I had enough work taking care of him. I had given up everything for this man. My hobbies, my friendships, my dreams. And he saw me as nothing more than unpaid help. The next morning I made Tom's breakfast like always. Scrambled eggs, crispy bacon, and toast cut into triangles. I brought it to him on his favorite blue tray and watched him eat. He didn't say thank you. He never did. "The eggs are a little cold," he complained. "And this orange juice tastes funny. Did you shake it?" "Yes, Tom," I said quietly. "Well, shake it better next time. You know I don't like pulp." I nodded and took the empty tray back to the kitchen. As I washed the dishes, I looked out the window at Mrs. Chen next door. She was planting flowers in her garden, humming to herself. She looked so happy and free. That's when I realized something. I hadn't hummed in years. I started paying attention to things I had ignored for so long. Like how Tom never asked about my day or how I was feeling. How he talked to me like I was his employee, not his wife. How he expected me to drop everything whenever he called my name. "Martha, come here," he would shout from the living room. I would run to him, thinking it was an emergency. But he just wanted me to change the TV channel or fluff his pillow or bring him a snack. "Martha, where's my magazine? Martha, this blanket is too hot. Martha, I'm bored. Come sit with me." I was like a dog, running whenever he called. And I was tired of it. One afternoon, I was cleaning out the closet when I found an old photo album. It was from before Tom's accident, when we were younger. I flipped through the pages and saw pictures of us at the beach, at parties, on vacation. In every single photo, I was smiling and laughing. I looked so alive. But when I looked in the mirror now, I saw a tired old woman with sad eyes. What had happened to that happy person in the photos? I kept looking through the album and found a picture of myself at my 40th birthday party. I was wearing a red dress and holding a cake with candles. Tom was standing beside me, but he wasn't looking at me. He was looking at the camera, posing for the picture. That's when I realized something else. Even before his accident, Tom had always been selfish. I started thinking about our marriage before the accident. How Tom always chose what movie we watched, what restaurant we went to, where we went on vacation. He made all the decisions and I just went along with them. I thought I was being a good wife by not arguing. But really, I was already being his servant. The accident just made it worse. I remembered how excited I was when we first got married. I had dreams of traveling the world, maybe writing a book, learning to paint. But Tom always had other plans. He wanted to buy a bigger house, a fancier car, a boat. My dreams didn't matter to him. And now, 25 years later, I was still putting his wants before my needs. Still making myself small so he could feel big. The next week, something happened that changed everything. Tom's nephew Kevin came to visit. He was a nice young man who always treated me with respect. While Tom was taking his afternoon nap, Kevin and I sat in the kitchen drinking coffee. "Aunt Martha," he said, "I wanted to thank you for everything you do for Uncle Tom. Taking care of someone who can't walk must be really hard." I smiled sadly. "It's what wives do, Kevin." "But what about you?" he asked. "What makes you happy?" The question caught me off guard. I couldn't remember the last time someone had asked me that. I don't know, I admitted. Kevin looked concerned. "When was the last time you did something just for yourself?" I thought about it, but I couldn't remember. Every day was about Tom's needs, Tom's schedule, Tom's comfort. That night I couldn't sleep. Kevin's question kept bothering me. What made me happy? I used to love reading mystery novels, but I hadn't read a book in years. I used to enjoy cooking new recipes, but Tom only wanted the same bland foods. I used to love taking long walks in the park, but Tom needed me to be available at all times. I had forgotten who I was before I became Tom's caregiver. I had lost myself completely. The next morning I made a decision. I was going to start doing small things for myself again. Not big things that would upset Tom, just little things that would make me feel human again. I started by buying myself a new book. Then I began taking short walks while Tom napped. I even called my sister in Florida, something I hadn't done in months. But Tom noticed the changes right away. He didn't like them. "Where were you this morning?" he demanded when I came back from my walk. "I went for a walk around the block," I said. "I called for you 3 times. What if I had fallen? What if I needed help? Tom, you were sleeping. And Mrs. Chen was in her yard. She would have heard you if you called." His face turned red. "I don't care about Mrs. Chen. I care about you being here when I need you." That's when I realized something. Tom wasn't just my husband. He was my prison guard. And I had been letting him lock me up for 25 years. The final straw came on a Thursday morning. I was getting ready to go to the grocery store when Tom called me into the bedroom. "I need you to give me a bath," he said. "Tom, you had a bath yesterday. And the home health aide is coming this afternoon. She can help you." "I don't want her help. I want your help. Right now." I took a deep breath. "Tom, I need to go to the store. We're out of your medicine." "The medicine can wait. I want a bath now." Something inside me snapped. I was tired of being ordered around like a servant. I was tired of being treated like my time didn't matter. I was tired of living for someone who saw me as nothing more than a slave. "No," I said quietly. Tom's eyes widened. "What did you say?" I said, "No. I'm not giving you a bath right now. I'm going to the store." Tom's face turned purple with rage. "You will not talk to me like that. I am your husband. You will do what I say." "You're right," I said, my voice getting stronger. "You are my husband, not my master. And I am your wife, not your slave." Tom started yelling, but I walked out of the room. I grabbed my purse and car keys and headed for the door. "Martha," he screamed. "Get back here right now." But I kept walking. For the first time in 25 years, I was putting myself first. At the grocery store, I felt different, lighter somehow. I took my time walking through the aisles, looking at things I normally rushed past. I bought some flowers for the kitchen table, something I hadn't done in years. I even bought a magazine for myself. When I got home, Tom was waiting for me. He was sitting in his wheelchair by the front door, glaring at me. "How dare you leave me like that?" he shouted. "What if something had happened to me?" "Nothing happened to you, Tom," I said calmly. "You're fine. That's not the point. You're supposed to be here." I put the groceries away and arranged the flowers in a vase. They were beautiful yellow daisies, and they made me smile. "Martha, are you listening to me?" "Yes, Tom, I'm listening. But I'm not obeying anymore." That night, I called my sister Linda in Florida. We talked for 2 hours about everything. Her grandchildren, her garden, her book club. Felt so good to have a normal conversation with someone who cared about me. "Martha," Linda said, "you sound different. Happier." "I am different," I told her. "I'm remembering who I used to be." "Good for you, honey. You deserve to be happy." After we hung up, I sat in the quiet kitchen and thought about what Linda had said. I did deserve to be happy. I deserved to be treated with respect. I deserved to have my own life. Tom had been controlling me for so long that I had forgotten I had choices. But I was starting to remember. The next few weeks were like a war. Tom tried everything to get me back under his control. He would cry and say he was sorry. Then he would get angry and yell at me. Then he would give me the silent treatment, hoping I would feel guilty and give in. But I was done feeling guilty for wanting to be treated like a human being. One morning, Tom refused to eat his breakfast because I had made pancakes instead of eggs. "I don't want pancakes," he said, pushing the plate away. "I want eggs." "The pancakes are already made, Tom," I said. "Eat them or don't eat them. It's your choice. Make me eggs." "No." He threw the plate on the floor. Pancakes and syrup went everywhere. I looked at the mess, then at Tom, then back at the mess. "Clean it up," I said. "I can't clean it up. I'm in a wheelchair." "Then you shouldn't have thrown it." I walked out of the kitchen, leaving the mess on the floor. Tom screamed and yelled, but I ignored him. I went to my bedroom and called the home health agency. "This is Martha Peterson," I said. "I need to increase my husband's care to full-time, starting immediately." The woman on the phone was very helpful. She explained that they could provide someone to help Tom with bathing, eating, and other daily activities. It would be expensive, but Tom had good insurance. "Will you still be the primary caregiver?" she asked. "No," I said firmly. "I'm retiring from that job." When I hung up, I felt free for the first time in 25 years. I was no longer Tom's slave. I was his wife, and that was all I was going to be. That afternoon, a very nice woman named Carol came to meet Tom and start helping him right away. She was a professional caregiver with lots of experience. She was also about my age, which made me feel better about the decision. Tom was not happy about this change. "I don't want a stranger taking care of me," he complained. "I want you." "I'm not a professional caregiver, Tom," I said. "Carol is. She knows how to help you better than I do." "But you're my wife." "Exactly. I'm your wife, not your employee. There's a difference." Carol was very patient with Tom, but she also didn't let him boss her around. She had rules and boundaries, something I had never learned to set. Watching her work, I realized how much I had been doing wrong all these years. I had been enabling Tom's bad behavior instead of helping him become more independent. With Carol taking care of Tom's daily needs, I suddenly had time for myself. Real time, not just stolen moments between Tom's demands. I started by reading. I went to the library and checked out a stack of mystery novels. I sat in my favorite chair by the window and read for hours. It felt amazing to lose myself in someone else's story. I also started cooking again. Real cooking, not just heating up the same boring meals Tom liked. I made spicy curry, fresh pasta, chocolate cake. I invited Mrs. Chen over for dinner, and we had such a lovely time. I even started painting. I bought a small easel and some watercolors and set up a little studio in the spare bedroom. I wasn't very good at it, but I didn't care. It made me happy. Tom hated seeing me happy. He would complain to Carol about me. "Martha used to care about me," he would say. "Now she's too busy with her hobbies to spend time with me." Carol would just nod politely and change the subject. She told me later that she had dealt with many families like ours. "Some people think that being disabled means everyone else should stop living," she said. "But that's not healthy for anyone." Carol was right. I had stopped living when Tom had his accident. I had buried myself alive, thinking it was love. But it wasn't love. It was fear. I was afraid Tom would be angry if I had my own life. I was afraid people would think I was selfish. I was afraid I wasn't good enough to have dreams of my own. But I was done being afraid. One evening, I was in my little art studio painting a picture of the sunset when Tom called for me. "Martha, come here." Kept painting. The orange and pink colors were just right, and I didn't want to stop. "Martha." I ignored him. Carol was in the kitchen making his dinner. If he needed something, he could ask her. "Martha, I'm talking to you." I put down my brush and walked to the living room. Tom was sitting in his wheelchair, his face red with anger. "Didn't you hear me calling you?" he demanded. "Yes, I heard you." "Then why didn't you come?" "Because I was busy." "What do you need?" "I need you to sit with me. I'm lonely." I looked at him for a long moment. "Tom, I'm not your entertainment. I'm your wife. There's a difference." That night, I made another life-changing decision. I was going to visit my sister Linda in Florida. I hadn't taken a vacation in 25 years, and I was ready for one. I called Linda and told her my plan. She was so excited. "Oh, Martha, I can't wait to see you. We'll go to the beach, visit the art museum, maybe take a cooking class. It'll be wonderful." When I told Tom about the trip, he had a complete meltdown. "You can't leave me," he screamed. "What if something happens? What if I get sick? What if I die?" "Tom, you'll be fine. Carol will take care of you. She's a professional." "I don't want Carol. I want you." "Well, you can't have me. I'm going to Florida." Tom tried everything to stop me. He cried, he begged, he threatened. He even called Kevin and asked him to talk me out of it. But Kevin surprised him. "Uncle Tom," he said, "Aunt Martha deserves a vacation. She's been taking care of you for 25 years without a break." The week before my trip, Tom got desperate. He started having emergencies every day. His back hurt, his head hurt, he felt dizzy, he couldn't breathe. But when Carol checked him, nothing was wrong. "He's trying to manipulate you," Carol said quietly. "Some patients do this when they're afraid of losing control." She was right. Tom was trying to scare me into staying home. But I wasn't falling for it anymore. The night before my flight, Tom tried one last time to stop me. "Martha," he said, using his sweet voice, "I'm sorry for everything. I know I haven't been the best husband. But I love you. Please don't leave me." For a moment, I felt the old guilt creeping in. But then I remembered his words to Jake. "She's just a slave in disguise." "I'm not leaving you, Tom," I said. "I'm just taking a vacation. I'll be back in a week." "But what if you decide you like it better there? What if you don't come back?" I looked at him honestly. "Then that's my choice to make." Florida was amazing. Linda picked me up at the airport, and we drove to her house with the windows down and the music loud. I felt like a teenager again. Linda's house was right near the beach, and every morning we would walk along the shore collecting seashells. The sand felt good between my toes, and the ocean air filled my lungs with life. We went to art galleries and restaurants. We saw a play at the local theater. We spent hours just talking and laughing. Linda introduced me to her friends, and they welcomed me like I was part of their group. "You seem so different from the last time I saw you," Linda said one evening as we sat on her porch watching the sunset. "You seem free." She was right. I felt free for the first time in decades. Free to sleep in, free to eat what I wanted, free to talk about something other than Tom's medical problems. On my last day in Florida, Linda and I were having breakfast when she said something that changed my life. "Martha, I have a confession to make. I've been worried about you for years. Every time we talked on the phone, you sounded so tired and sad. I wanted to help, but I didn't know how." I put down my coffee cup. "What do you mean?" "I mean, honey, you've been more like Tom's nurse than his wife. That's not healthy for either of you." I thought about what she said. She was right. I had been more like a nurse than a wife. I had forgotten how to be anything else. "Linda," I said slowly, "I think I've been afraid to be myself. I thought if I wasn't useful to Tom, he wouldn't love me anymore. But Martha, if someone only loves you for what you do for them, that's not really love. That's just using you." Her words hit me like a lightning bolt. Tom didn't love me. He used me. When I got home from Florida, I was a different person. I was tan and rested and happy. I had remembered who I was before I became Tom's caregiver. Tom was waiting for me in the living room when I walked in. He looked angry and sulky. "So you came back," he said. "Of course I came back. I live here. Carol said you might not come back. She said you seemed really happy in Florida." I sat down across from him. "I was happy in Florida. Very happy. Happier than you are here." I thought about lying, but I decided to tell the truth. "Yes, Tom. Much happier." His face crumpled. "Why? What's wrong with here?" "Nothing's wrong with here, Tom. Something's wrong with us." That night I made the biggest decision of my life. I was going to change our relationship completely. I was not going to be Tom's caregiver anymore. I was going to be his wife or nothing at all. I sat down with Tom and Carol and explained my new rules. "From now on," I said, "Carol will handle all of Tom's medical needs. I will be his wife, not his nurse. I will eat dinner with him, watch TV with him, and talk to him about our day. But I will not bathe him, dress him, or feed him. That's Carol's job." Tom started to protest, but I held up my hand. "These are not suggestions, Tom. These are my new rules. If you don't like them, you can find somewhere else to live." Tom's mouth fell open. He had never heard me talk like this before. You can't kick me out. I'm your husband." "Then act like it," I said firmly. "Act like my husband, not my patient." It took a few months, but slowly, Tom began to change. He started treating me with more respect. He said please and thank you. He asked about my day instead of just complaining about his. He even started doing some things for himself that he had been making me do for years. Carol helped him learn to transfer from his wheelchair to the bed by himself. She taught him how to prepare simple meals. She showed him how to use the computer to order groceries online. "I didn't know I could still do these things," Tom said one day. "I thought I was completely helpless." "You were never helpless, Tom," I said. "You were just lazy. It was easier to let me do everything than to learn how to do it yourself." It was a hard truth, but it was the truth. Tom had been using his disability as an excuse to avoid taking responsibility for his own life. One evening, about 6 months after I came back from Florida, Tom asked me to sit with him on the porch. It was a beautiful spring evening, and the flowers in our garden were blooming. "Martha," he said quietly, "I owe you an apology. A big one." I looked at him, surprised. Tom never apologized for anything. "I've been thinking about what you said, about me acting like your husband instead of your patient. And I realized something. I stopped being your husband a long time ago. Even before my accident. I didn't say anything. Just listened. I was selfish and controlling, and I made you feel like you didn't matter. Then after my accident, I used my disability as an excuse to treat you even worse. I turned you into my slave, and I'm sorry." Tears started rolling down my cheeks. These were the words I had been waiting 25 years to hear. "I don't know if you can ever forgive me," Tom continued, "but I want to try to be a better husband. A real husband. I want to support your dreams instead of crushing them. I want to celebrate your happiness instead of resenting it." I reached over and took his hand. "Tom, I appreciate you saying that. But I need you to understand something. I'm not the same person I was before I went to Florida. I'm not going to go back to being your servant." "I know," he said. "And I don't want you to. I want a wife, not a servant. I want a partner, not a slave." "Then we need to learn how to be married all over again," I said. "Like we're starting fresh." Tom nodded. "I'd like that. If you're willing to try." I squeezed his hand. "I'm willing to try. But Tom, if you ever call me a slave again, even as a joke, I will pack my bags and move to Florida. Do you understand?" "Yes," he said quietly. "I understand." It's been 2 years since that conversation on the porch, and Tom and I are still learning how to be married. It's not always easy, but it's honest now. We're both trying to be better people. Tom has learned to do many things for himself. He can cook simple meals, do his own laundry, and even drive a special car with hand controls. He's more independent than he's been in 25 years. I've kept painting and reading and taking trips to see Linda. I even joined a book club at the library. Tom doesn't always like it when I'm busy with my own activities, but he's learning to respect my time. We're not the same couple we were before his accident, but we're not the same couple we were a year ago either. We're something new, something better. Last week, something happened that showed me how much we've both changed. Tom was having a bad day. His back was hurting, and he was feeling frustrated about his limitations. In the old days, he would have taken his anger out on me. But instead, he asked Carol to help him with his pain medication, and then he asked me to just sit with him and talk. "Martha," he said, "I'm having a hard day. Could you tell me about your painting class? It always makes me feel better to hear about the things that make you happy." I was so surprised that I almost cried. This was the man I had married 30 years ago, before life got complicated and difficult. This was the man who used to care about my happiness. "Of course," I said, and I told him all about the watercolor landscape I was working on. He listened carefully and asked questions. He even suggested that we hang my finished paintings in the living room. I want to share something important with anyone who might be listening to this story. If you're taking care of someone you love, it's okay to take care of yourself too. It's not selfish. It's necessary. You can't pour from an empty cup. If you give away all of yourself, you'll have nothing left to give. You'll become bitter and angry, and that doesn't help anyone. I learned that I was a better wife when I was a whole person. When I had my own interests and my own life, I had more to bring to our marriage. I was more interesting to talk to, more fun to be around, and more capable of loving. Taking care of yourself isn't giving up on your loved one. It's making sure you're strong enough to love them properly. If you're in a situation like I was, please know that it's never too late to change. I was 67 years old when I finally stood up for myself. I thought I was too old to start over, but I was wrong. You're never too old to demand respect. You're never too old to pursue your dreams. You're never too old to be happy. It might be scary to rock the boat. It might be hard to change patterns that have been in place for years. But you deserve to be treated with dignity and love. You deserve to have your own life. Don't wait for someone else to give you permission to be happy. Give yourself permission. Start small if you need to, but start. Take a walk. Read a book. Call an old friend. Paint a picture. Do something that makes you happy, not something that makes someone else happy. I also want to say something to the people who might be in Tom's position. If someone is taking care of you, please remember that they're a person, not a machine. They have feelings and needs and dreams of their own. Being disabled or sick doesn't give you the right to treat other people badly. Your caregiver is not your servant. They're your partner, your friend, your family member. They deserve respect and kindness. If you're angry about your situation, that's understandable. But don't take that anger out on the people who are trying to help you. They didn't cause your problems, and they're doing their best to make your life better. Instead of demanding that they sacrifice their entire life for you, try to find ways to support their happiness too. Ask about their day. Thank them for their help. Encourage them to pursue their own interests. You'll be surprised how much better your relationship becomes when you treat your caregiver like a human being instead of a servant. Looking back, I realized that I enabled Tom's bad behavior for years. Every time he was rude to me, I made excuses for him. Every time he demanded too much, I gave in. Every time he tried to control me, I let him. I thought I was being loving and supportive. But really, I was teaching him that it was okay to treat me badly. I was showing him that I didn't value myself, so why should he value me? It took me 25 years to learn that love doesn't mean accepting abuse. Love means having enough respect for yourself and your partner to demand healthy boundaries. Real love lifts both people up. It doesn't tear one person down to make the other feel better. It doesn't require one person to disappear so the other can shine. If someone truly loves you, they want you to be happy and fulfilled. They don't want you to sacrifice your entire identity for them. These days, Tom and I have a much more balanced relationship. We both give and take. We both support each other's dreams and goals. We both contribute to our marriage in different ways. Tom may not be able to walk, but he can still be a good husband. He listens to me when I talk. He encourages my hobbies. He says thank you when I do things for him. He asks for my opinion about important decisions. I still help him with some things, but I'm not his only source of support. He has Carol for his medical needs, and he has learned to do many things independently. He's not helpless anymore. This is what a real marriage looks like. Two people who choose to be together, not because one person is trapped or desperate, but because they genuinely enjoy each other's company. We're partners now, not master and servant. We're equals, not caregiver and patient. I want to end this story by talking about the moment that changed everything. The moment when Tom called me a slave in disguise. At first, I was devastated. I felt like my whole world had collapsed. But now I'm grateful for that moment. It was the wake-up call I needed. Sometimes the most painful truths are also the most liberating. Hearing Tom's real opinion of me was crushing, but it also set me free. It showed me that I had been living a lie for 25 years. I had been pretending that our relationship was built on love and mutual respect. But it was really built on fear and control. I was afraid to stand up for myself. And Tom was controlling me through guilt and manipulation. Once I saw the truth clearly, I couldn't unsee it. I couldn't go back to pretending that everything was okay. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to Granny's Voice.